So you guys have asked about this stove in several of my previous videos, and it's actually been a viewer request for quite some time. Today we're going to go over the Kettle and some of its pros as well as some of its cons. Now, as many of you know, my favorite stoves are wood burning stoves or bio stoves. Stoves that I can just collect materials in the woods and go ahead and use that to fuel my fire. Now, I want to get one thing clear before all you internet experts and keyboard commandos go crazy in the comment section saying, well, why don't you just put your pot on a fire? Why would you need a stove? And that's a good question. The answer is A, I'm usually in a state park, meaning I can't start a fire. It's illegal to do so, but I can use a small wood stove. And B, a fire takes a lot more time and effort. You have to build up a larger fire to create a coal base to cook on. You have to clean up that fire after you're done, make sure it's out. And so it takes up a lot more time than I'm willing to spend when I'm just on a day hike or a short trip in the woods. So another thing you might say is, why would you pack that large stove when there's much smaller options out there? For one, stoves like this do two things. They serve as the pot, and they also serve as the burning chamber, or the way to boil that water to cook your food. Although other wood burning stoves like the Firebox and the Firebox Nano come in smaller packable sizes, you still do have to have the pot. Another thing you might say is, why not just use a gas stove or an alcohol stove? They're much smaller, they're much lighter to pack, and that's true. Great for backpacking trips where you know where you're going, you can pre-plan. But for me, again, when I go out to the woods every single day, I don't want to be burning through gas canisters, and I don't want to be burning through alcohol. It's much easier for me to just use a bio stove and cook that way. So I'd say the Kettle is most similar to the Solo stove. The Solo stove comes in two different sizes, the light model and the Titan model, which I have here. The Solo stoves are great because they have the pot and you can nest the stove down in them. Fairly similar to the Kettle, but there is some differences, and we'll go over those today. So once you pull the Kettle out of the stuff sack, you notice that it is taller than the Solo stove. It is about twice as tall, and that's a consideration when packing as well. But what this has that the other stoves don't is the ability to carry the water right in the stove itself. The bottom part of the stove is where you build the fire, and then you simply just set the stove on top. It's hollow on the inside, so it heats the walls of that chamber in there and very quickly and efficiently boils your water. Now, these are made to also nest upside down, so you can save yourself a little bit of space there, but I generally will nest it like this just to keep the stuff sack nice and clean. So the Kettle has this plunger which you can pull off. You don't want to heat it with the plunger in place, but that would be the location where you fill up your kettle. Now, we could fill this with river, lake, or stream water. I'm just going to go ahead and fill it up with some water from my canteen. Now, you can go ahead and fill it all the way up to the top, but what I notice is once it starts boiling, it starts to spit a little bit. So I fill it up just shy of the opening there, and that should be plenty. A definite plus to this stove is how quickly it is to get going. They just have some cotton balls there. You can get those going, and then you can just set the stove right on top. And you continue by feeding your wood down the center of the stove. And what happens is that wood lands down in there vertically, so it really gives you a good base to get a fire going, even on a day like today where most of my wood is pretty wet. The flame shoots all the way through the inside of the kettle, heating that water up very quickly. You can even see it spitting out the top here, making it very, very efficient and using very, very little wood. It's so hot inside that chamber, even with marginal wet wood on a day like today, you can see there's no smoke coming out the top. And just like that, after a few minutes, your water is ready. Now, you want to take it off the stove using the handle. You don't want to lift the handle above here because it is still very hot up here, but what you can do is just hold it like this and lift it off your fire. I used very, very few sticks there. And then you use the chain here and the handle to pour it into your cup. So I'm just going to lift the chain here. And very easily pour that right down into my mug. Now, there are some accessories you can get for your Kettle, one being this pot support that you can slide together and slip it down the opening here, allowing you to use larger pots or pans. Another accessory is their mugs that come with the lip protectors so that you don't burn your lips. They also make a hobo stove that fits right down into the base, and you can use that with your pots or pans. Slamming. The nice thing about this accessory is that it nests right down into the bottom portion, and then you can place your kettle right on top and stow it away in the bag. You can also flip it around the other way and save yourself just a little bit of height. But again, I prefer putting it in this way so that I don't dirty up the inside of my bag. So we've gone over portability and how it's not the most portable stove out there. It's not going to be the lightest or the smallest when it comes to packing in your kit. It is nice though that you can use one piece of equipment to boil your water. You don't need an additional pot in order to do so. The Kelly Kettle comes in 3 different sizes, the small or the Trekker, which is what I have here. Then there's a medium, and then there's a large. I'd say the biggest con for me is the capacity on the Trekker model. Now generally when I'm out in the woods, I want enough for a cup of hot chocolate or a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and enough to make a dehydrated meal, which usually is about 2 or 2.5 cups. Now the Trekker model will only hold 20 ounces or 2.5 cups. The medium Kelly Kettle holds just over 40 ounces or 5 cups, and the large holds 54 ounces or 6.75 cups. So in my opinion, I'd go with one of the larger models. So portability and capacity, at least on the Trekker model, being my 2 cons, let's talk about some pros. The Kelly Kettle is extremely efficient, one of the most efficient stoves that I've used. It boils water super fast within 3 or 4 minutes. So even if you had to fill it again and boil up another couple cups of water, you could do so quicker than some of the other stoves out there. In other countries where they have to boil up every day in order to have safe drinking water, a Kelly Kettle is a great option. It also makes a great option for a survival kit or a car kit where you may need to just quickly boil up some water. The other plus is cost. Because you have the built-in kettle and stove, you're going to save $20 or $30 over a solo stove where you need both the stove and the pot. The Trekker model runs around $69, the medium around $79, and the large around $89. As far as accessories go, I wouldn't waste my money on the pot stand. I would, however, recommend the hobo stove, which you can stick down into the bottom portion and create a nice base for using a pot or a pan. They also make a nesting mug set. Now these mugs are very high quality. They have the graduation marks on the inside. They have the rubber handles. They also come with the rubber lip protectors, which is really nice. However, mine don't nest together that well. You really have to cram the smaller one into the larger one for them to nest. Yes, they do it, but it'd be nice if it nested a little bit easier. In order to do so, you'd have to take off the rubber handles, which is something that I do most of the time anyway. These also have the short handles, and anyone that's watched my channel knows that I like pots or mugs with the longer handles. And finally, they make a little cook set, which is a little pot, they call it, a little grill, and a little grabber for your pot. Now this is made to work with the bottom portion of your kettle. So you stick the little grill plate in there like that, and then you can put this little pan on the top. Now nothing nests together, so it's just extra accessories rolling around in your pack. This size pot's really not going to do much for me, so I prefer to skip this accessory kit and again just go with the hobo stove. My recommendation would be go with the medium or the large, get the hobo stove adapter, and then the whole thing nests in one package like this. The extra accessory grill and the extra accessory grabber and pot doesn't do a whole lot for me, and neither does the top pot stand. I'm able to get everything I want to accomplish in this kit itself. The Kelly Kettle is certainly a durable piece of kit. I've enjoyed using it. I know many other people that love it as well, so I'm glad I got to take a look at it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Please give it a big thumbs up for me. Make sure you leave me a comment below. Please share this video to your friends and family on your social media, and as always, click that red subscribe button. Subscribe to my channel for more videos.